everybody. I'm gonna wait and see if we can get until we get a few people going on here. We've got the computer fired up. I'm gonna take Spry out to get our little routine started. As people start logging on, we'll get moving. But I'm gonna take Spry out. First thing, like I always do, she's very excited. And so this is that one part that I talked about. This is that part that I talked about. Try to block the wind. When she comes out, she gets real excited to get down, and it's counterproductive to what I'm trying to do when I feed her and settle her down. So notice her. She's going to have to settle down before I let her down and even go to the bathroom. So we're just extending that steadiness. So she's not too bad now. I'm going to let her down, let her go to the bathroom. I'll flip it around. Oh, I don't want to show that. Poor girl. It's embarrassing. So she runs off. She's going to go do her business here. Then I'm going to show you this way. I can show you too how I get her back in. I think that was a question that came up of a lot of people had issues when they let their dogs out and they wouldn't come back in. So she's little and I'm trying to make a habit. She's kind of pushing it right now, or sometimes she runs off and doesn't want to always come in with me. I don't want to chase her down. You can see her here. She's stretching out a little bit. She's just kind of fooling around right now. Brian Quigley shared it. Thanks, Brian. If you guys will help me grow this by sharing, I'd love to see that. I think that's the best way for us to do it. Share it on your page and share it to anyone that you think this might help. I'm also going to try to do a live with, I got a lot of really nice response on the older dog that I worked with, Ellie, the other day. So I'm going to try to do some work with her yet today, but I've got a long list of stuff that has to get done. Steph flew to Vail this morning. I'm still waiting for her to go. So now I let her out, came back home. I took, there she goes. So she's going right now. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Now I'm all over her. Good girl, that's it. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. And I turned this into a real fun game. Come on. Good girl. It's almost turned into a race with her. Now, let me pick her up here. That's part of how I'm getting her to come in. Making it a lot of fun. If you have to, have a little kibble in your hand to get her to come to you, whatever you got to do to get it started. But I don't want to have a habit of a dog that goes out to the bathroom and then I struggle to get her to come back in with me. So I've got 2 dogs in their crates. I just got back from taking our daughter to school. So I'm just getting back and you're going to get this started. So Illinois is in. Who's from Illinois? Greg. Welcome, Greg. So now what I'm going to do is get back into our routine. Most of you guys have probably watched this already. So it's a bunch of series. I'm going to grab some food here. Series on what we're doing with getting this little puppy started to build a good foundation. Okay, so she just went to the bathroom. We just came in. We're going to feed her, but I want to work on a little bit of sit. So I'm going to refresh my computer. Make sure, because now what I'm going to do, we got some Utah's in. Same here. Good Illinois presence this morning. Way to be. I'm a Bears fan as well, so if that comforts you. Let me bring up our page. I'm going to set this up. Now, Mississippi here for now, but wife's fixing to have surgery. Good luck with the surgery. Great tips and thanks. Thanks, Alex. Good luck with the surgery. I got another guy that's going in for surgery today that called me yesterday, so I'm going to wish him well. He's going in for some back surgeries, but he has never been on Facebook before, so I tried talking him into his son setting him up a Facebook account, so we'll see if he does it or not. But looks like we're on. Looks like we're good. I'm doing this so that I can see to adjust the camera. So I'm going to give you guys the aerial view again today. We're going to work on Brooke's in with no ticket. Well done. She texted me that she was speeding home. We're going to talk about, Brooke, remind me, we're going to talk about your pup in a little bit because there's some housebreaking stuff in there. I'm going to set it up in the light fixture. Another good plus about today is my last day with this phone, I hope. I think I'm getting it replaced today. So this is a loaner phone. I've really struggled with it. So I think we're going to get a new one today. So I'm going to wait and see how this looks. I think it looks all right. So I'm going to start working on the sit work to a little kibble. She's got plenty of energy today, which is great. Someone asked me a question about the kibble. Do I wet this part? No, I don't. I usually cut it in half. I'm going to go with full kibble today and see how she does with it. Every day she gets a little bit bigger. It's a little bit easier for her to chew. I want to refresh my computer here. But I'm working on getting her to sit. And what I might do today is, because she did so well the last 2 days, I may cut out some of the food. I may make it so that I do give her food maybe 3 out of 4 times. I'm just going to adjust this slightly. Okay, so I'm going to be moving. Part of what I want to do is get this dog moving, her feet coming to me and sitting. You can see already she's kind of putting together this sit response. She's got good focus. Sit. Good. Good timing there. She's a little bit far for me. I'd like to get her to come closer to me. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit. Good. Look how quick that was. Nice little butt to the ground immediately. It was very responsive. I like that one. Get her attention. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit. Good. No, don't jump. Now I'm really getting picky. She wants to jump up. I'm going to say, no, I'm not giving you the food. Before, 2-3 days ago, I'd have been really happy with that one. Look how quickly she's getting this habit of sit. So, sit. Good. I'm timing it with sit. Now I'm going to give her one without food. Come here. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit. Good. Very good. Her tail wags just as much when I say very good and pet her head as it did when I gave her food. Come here. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit. Good girl. Very good. Very good. Come here. I want to move to get her to move. Sit. Don't you. No. Come here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit. Good. Timing. Very quick. She's really quick this morning. I'm going to go to moving. Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come here. Come on. Come on. I'm going to let her out. I'm going to use this to block it. So I'm going to try to keep her in this area. Come here. I'll get right down on the ground with her. Come here. Where'd you go? She escaped. Come here. Come on, come on, come on. Here. Now, she's all over here. So I'm going to block this off so she can't get away. Come on, come on, come on. Over here. Come here. Now you see the levels of distraction change. Sit. Sit. No. Come on. Come on. Here. Come on. She's having a little bit harder time this morning. She's got way more energy than she did yesterday. It's all right. Come here. Sit. Good. That's what I was looking for. So I had her focus. She saw that I really showed her the food. She saw I had it. No, 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 no. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Come on. That's it. That's it. She comes to me. Good girl. Right here. Right here. All the way, all the way, all the way. Right here. Sit. Here. Right here. Sit. Good. That was it. I don't know if you can see it. Good girl. Come on. Come in. Come on. Here. No, 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 no. Sit. Good. I want one more and that's it. I'm building up. About half of them today are in the crate, half of them are in the pen, half are out. Come here. No, 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 no. Don't let her get away on you. Sit. Good. Now, that last one, what I noticed about that, so that's it. Like my gut tells me right now, boy, I really enjoyed that. I want to keep going. My heart tells me stop. End it on a good note. So I did. I'm going to put the computer over here, guys, and I'll be right back over. So there was some temptation on my part. I thought that went really well, okay? And I got to plug this computer in. Hi, DogBone. Steph must be on via Milwaukee Airport right now. She's, I think, stuck in the airport. Denver's got high winds and they can't land. So I'm going to set this down. Steph, I'm assuming that's you, unless we're hacked. I'm going to plug this in. Okay, now I set her down in the crate area just to regroup here a little bit. I'm going to position this that hopefully you can see. I want to make it so that you can see the food. So I'm going to see if I can wedge this a little bit better. You guys are getting, the phone is being wedged in between a paper towel holder with 3 Whitetails Unlimited magazines to hold it up. Perfect. We're not fancy here. I don't think you have to be. This is someone asked me a question about, well, you must have it. It wasn't verbatim, but it was something about, well, you must have, it's different for us because we're not set up the way you are set up to do this. Hey, I'm using a paper towel holder and 3 Whitetails Unlimited magazines to do this. I'm not set up that well. You got your set. If I went into your house and I went into your life and I looked at your schedule, I bet I could figure out a way to make this stuff work. That's the challenge. That's the challenge I put out to you. So let me get the pup. So I've got Spry here. We're going to do our same routine. Bowl of food. She knows it's here. I'm going to set it there. I'm going to wait and make sure you can see it. I think it's important to see because I want you to be able to see her get to it. So the routine, we did it the exact same way that we've done it now for several days. So if you're new to this, do me a favor. If you're new to this, make a comment that you're new. Because I'm curious. The other day we had our best numbers. We had our best number of people following. We had over 100 comments. It was, Facebook kept telling me how good I did. So they really wanted me to boost it and send them money. But anyway, what I want to know is I want to know if some of you guys are new. Because if you're new, some of this might not make sense. And if that's the case, I'm going to reference you back to some of our old ones. Because this has been going on now for about a week. This is going to continue. Maybe more than a week. It's going to continue. So I got some people making some comments. It's awesome. So what we're doing is steadying up Spry. She's already really loose in my arms. I'd go so far as saying she's just laying there. I mean, she's limp in my arms right now. That tells me that it makes sense. This is the third day probably in a row that I haven't struggled with her in my arms. Last night, I didn't watch the video. I probably should have. I was at a basketball game. Steph did it for me. Oh, I didn't see a video. Never mind. Steph took pictures, and she told me that she struggled in her arms a little bit. And part of the problem was the way Steph had to hold her because she's getting kind of heavy. She had to hold her here, and what she did was, and she did this to me before too, was she used these back legs as leverage, and she'd push off, push off, push off, and she did not settle in very well. That was part of the problem was physically this dog's just getting big. So I got to remind myself, make hay while the sun shines. We got to get some stuff done while she's little and I can handle her this way. So that's what we're working on. Now Steph did a real nice job. She steadied her up in her arms. She steadied her up on the ground and then she sent her. I don't think it took her that long. It took her maybe 10 minutes across the board. But it took longer than what it did for us. Right now, I'm happy with her in my arms. I'm happy with her because she's 100% settled. She hasn't wiggled. She hasn't squeaked. She hasn't made any noise. That tells me we're there. I'm talking, and I'm fast-paced, and I'm moving around, and I'm high energy right now. She's not feeding off of that. She's not mimicking me, which a lot of times they will. So if you watch some of the earlier videos, they're much more boring. It's me standing holding a dog that whines. And then I move it into my other arm, and we listen to it whine. And then I move it in the other arm. And 3-4 days ago, 26 minutes of that. It was hard to watch, probably. It was hard for me to do. But we got through it, and then she had success, and then we rewarded her. So what I'm looking for is this behavior replicated every single time. Dog training is nothing more than consistency forming habits. Repetition and consistency forms a habit. That's what we're trying to do. So I feel really good about this. Now I'm going to set her on the ground and make her feet touch the ground and have her stand on all four without moving before I send her. You can't quite see the bowl, so I'll move it back a touch. So maybe I shouldn't, because I don't know, maybe you don't need to see the bowl. And I don't know if you can hear as well when I back up. So I'll stay here a little bit closer. But so when I touch her to the ground, I'm looking for all 4 feet to stand still. 3rd day of doing this, I believe. If that happens, I might even put a little pressure to her butt to have her butt hit the ground. Now what we're doing is we're connecting what we did in that pen to this. So we worked on a skill in that pen on little sits, repetitive, over and over and over. I'm getting her to understand sit means sit, and she'll sit, and I'll give her feed, and then I'll praise her, and so all that's good. Now I'm transferring that to this drill. This drill used to be just sit in my arms and don't fuss. Now it's sit on my arms and don't fuss, then sit on the ground and don't fuss. Now I'm going to add sit your butt on the ground and don't fuss and steady up. The other thing we've added to this one is I never used to line her and send her. I used to just set her down and let her go. Set her down, let her go. Now when I set her down and make her steady up, I started lining her and sending her on her name. It happened real quick, but it matters to her. And so what am I replicating? Down the road, how do I send dogs on retrieves? I line them and I send them. It starts here. It starts right now. So I'm getting them in the habit of taking a nice little line and releasing on their name. So all these things are interconnected. We don't just hope this works out. We got to plan early and then figure out there's 10,000 steps to get there. You can't take step number 9,000 until you took the 8,999 before it. And then there's going to be times when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. And I've got a couple people that have asked me questions about some of the things that they've gone backwards on. So some of you guys have been doing this long enough now with me, which is awesome. Sending pictures, we're sharing those. I'm trying to share as many as I can. What I've found now is some of those people that have shared, and I know they're doing it because they have success, are taking steps backwards. And a lot of times people push a panic button when they have to go backwards because they go, that's not how it works. That's not how it's supposed to go. I go backwards all the time. But it's figuring out how to fill in those holes and then move forward again. And once you fill the holes in, you got to move to find out where your weaknesses are. When you find out what the weaknesses are and you fix them, watch how quickly you springboard. You go a lot further. So don't be intimidated. Don't worry about making mistakes. I'm going to start hearing about mistakes because people are going to start doing this enough that they're going to run into some troubles. You got all these people that are excited about early success. Now, when the failures start coming, when the problems start coming up, how many of you will stick with me and work through them? I'll have the issues with her. We did it earlier this week. I did 2 or 3 really good sessions of this. I actually put her on the ground. I had some good sits going. And then all of a sudden, she fussed for 23 minutes or 26 minutes in my arms. Is all lost? No. Keep going. Keep going. Be consistent. So I'm going to set her down. I'm going to have her steady up, and I might even go for butt to the ground today. Let's see if you can see this. Okay, right away the feet start moving. As I put her down, those feet started moving. See that? Touching down and the feet start moving. Well, let's see what happens when the feet hit the ground. Nope, she really leaned out. Nope. I didn't even take my hands off of her and she's trying to go. So, we're going to have to touch her down. Nope, and pick her back up. Now she's reversing on me. So we're right back to the very first day. She went forward, forward, forward. Then she went backwards, backwards, backwards. She just did the same thing. Nope, I don't want her moving. Nope. Nope, pretty damn close, so that one was a lot better. Spry. Did you see that one? She sat down. I am not going to I am going to send her when she sits because she's doing it before I'm even asking her to. She's learning that maybe is what's going to get me to go. So I didn't even have to put the butt to her. I didn't have to put my hand on her butt. She just sat and she thought, maybe I'll try this. And I sent her. So now I'm going to reset that and do it again. And I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again. And we're going to see how quickly. Now remember, I actually, Steph said that, put those pictures up from last night. I think she might have had her butt on the ground last night, it looked like in the picture. I didn't talk to Steph, so I don't know if it did or not. But she went to putting her butt on the ground. I put some chapstick on. I feel like Napoleon Dynamite. So, let me pick her up, resend her. Now I'm going to see if that butt hits the ground again. I'm not even asking her for it yet. But if she does do it, I'm sending her, like right now. because she's already figuring out what I really want from her. Let me set her down. Good girl. Okay? Did it again. I'm really liking this. So now what I'm going to do is let her eat a little bit more. I'm going to reset her, do it again. And this time I'm going to ask her to take a step. I'm going to ask her to pause. When she sits, I'm going to make her wait. 1001, 1002, send her. It's not asking a lot, but I need her to understand that just because she sits down doesn't mean I get to go, because she'll get in a habit of sit and go. Sit and go. I don't want that. I want sit, and eventually I'm going to have a lot of time there. So let me reset it one more time here. Might do it maybe 2 more times. Let's set her down. No. So that time she didn't sit. So I normally wouldn't put these, I want to explain it as we're going here. If I were just doing this at my house, I'd have her sit. She didn't sit, so I'd pick her back. She started to move, so I picked her up. I'd just put her right back down. So I'm gonna do it without explaining anything. I'll explain it after. Spry. Good girl. Very good. Not very often that I get very excited when she goes to eat, but when she does something good, let her know it's good. So when we did that feeding outside the pen and she came to me, and just yesterday I really gave her a bunch of praise and she went, ooh, he really gets excited. Well, yeah, I do. When she does something new, let her know. When she does something that she's been doing over and over and over again, you can reinforce it's good. But don't act like it's the best thing in the world after she learns it. That's a habit. That's what you're supposed to do. That's why we don't treat train. Treat training is bribery. Treat training, it's a dog to understand that every time he does it, he gets something. Well, what happens when you take that little reward away from him, whether it be food or whatever? They're going to go to hell with him. I don't get what I want anyway. So with her, let's do one more with her, and then I'm going to let her finish up that bowl. Loved it. I'm done. I'm not going to push it anymore. No reason to. You push it anymore, risk a fail. And why would I want to end it any differently than that? That was tremendous. So I got grabbed the blow it up with those little blue thumbs. She really liked that, and it warms my soul. So a couple of things I want to point out. I got to plug in because we're dead battery here. A couple of things that I want to point out are the last one. Before I sent her, she sat and her little, oh, look at all those thumbs. Her tail went like this. So she sat, she looked at me, she looked forward, and she went, and I went, you get it, go eat. And then I praise her heavily for it. So she's finishing up this food quickly. Here's the little detail that you might want to take notes on. The last couple times that I fed her, there was always food left, and she went off and did something else. Okay? Next step, what do we got? What is our routine, guys? Look at her sit down. She goes, I'll take some more. Not yet, you won't. What's our next step, guys? After we do that, what does little Spry like to do? First one that answers, it's going to get something mailed to them. Come on, little girl. Come on. Get up there, good girl. Good girl. Who's happy? No. Please. Good girl. Here's a lesson. Good. Come on. Place. Look at the difference. Look at the difference after just a little bit of tone for correction. Let me spin this around. Had a call come in. Lost you for a second. Got plugged back in, I'm dying. Place training. I got to look back and see who got it first. Place training is right. After we're done feeding, we're going to put her up on her place. Now, a little something interesting there. When I put her up, the call coming in. Busy morning. Little something that was interesting there was, this is probably one of the first times. Look who's teasing over here. Oh, just relax. Taylor, just relax. That's not fair for our little girl. She goes, I know, but. So one of the things this is one of the first times that I've taken her and tried to let her jump up onto the place herself. And what did she do? Both times she took it upon herself to jump off. So I had to correct, maybe 3 times. I might have had corrections there. I haven't had a correction like that for, I don't know, 2 weeks. She hasn't jumped off that bed for 2 weeks. Now the 3rd time, what did I do? I picked her up and I set her on it. Did she come off since? No. So what I've realized is she does not understand that when I tell her to get up on her place and she gets up on her own, that she has to stay the same as when, now watch this. I do not want this to erode. The worst thing I can do is get a dog to start thinking that they can come off. Because that's a real slippery slope. We've been really good up to this point. I do not want to let that go anywhere backwards. That's one thing I don't want to have any steps backwards with. So I'm going to be real conscious of her, to be there with tone, and with her when I raise my voice just a little bit growly with her, she's very willing to abide. You could see that. I corrected her when she ran over here. I corrected her and I put her back up and her ears laid back and she sat down and looked at me like, sorry about that, didn't mean it. Well, we're going to make sure that that's burnt into her. There. Not the change yet. She's whining a little bit. The change that I'm looking for, you guys know what the change looks like. There's usually a little deep sigh involved with it. She'll lay down and, okay, good. Was close there. Let's see how long it takes. Frustration right now with her. This is the part that where the patience comes in. They all have patience, need patience, but getting close to a change, I think. Here it comes, I bet. I bet it's coming. Mason's grandma's in. Good morning. Here it comes. Not yet. Good. I reward that because she was looking awful hard to come off. And then she decided better and sat. So I'm going to give her a little good for that. It's not quite the settle I'm looking for yet, but we'll wait for it. She tastes that freedom. She likes that. She jumped off there a couple times. She went, God, that was pretty good. Now she wants it again. And so we're back probably to when it was real tempting early on, because she's had a little taste of it and she wants some more of it. 25 comments so far. Good job, guys. I got to go back and look through some of these. I'm going to start scrolling back to the top. Thank you to you guys who have shared it so far. Steven from Utah's in, the canine trainer, Air Force. Thank you for your services, Steven. Steven sent me a message. I got to call him yet. I want to talk with him a little bit. I like the canine guys. They really understand how dogs comprehend scent. Let's see, Mississippi here. Oh, I talked with you. Brooke didn't get a ticket. Steph's in. Everyone wants to say hi to Steph. Hi from the airport. Guy chews like a camel. Well, it could be worse. Lighting looks nice today. Enough. No. Digging out the old playpen panels for separation of the new pup. I like your simple setup. Anyone can do this. We'll be trying this method with our 3-year-old dog. Absolutely, Carol, and you can have success with a dog at 3 years old. I would take the exact same steps. I have a lot of people call me. Our DVD, our puppy DVD, is called Puppy Training, Building a Solid Foundation. It talks all about there. Good. Very good. Talks all about foundation work. People ask a lot, well, my dog's 3, my dog's 4, my dog's 5, my dog's 1. Does it still work? Hell yes. They're puppies till they're 2. But just because they're not puppies doesn't mean that they don't need a foundation, and it doesn't mean the way you get it with an older dog is the same way you'd get it with a young pup. So take the same steps. You might not be able to hold it in your arms like I do right now, so put it next to you on your side. The nice part about the older dogs is they should have some type of start. So you just figure out there, one more spin and she lays and she's going to get another nice little good. So yes, you can use the same steps. So you'll have success with your 3-year-old dog. Patience. Get your plan together and then work through your plan. You'll be fine. It's execution that is really important. I think my challenge will be him not focusing. He's really hyper. Most people have that problem, Jose. That's where setting yourself up helps. Okay, so there. Good. Very good. This little dog would not have the focus to do this 2 weeks ago with a dog right there and me talking, and there's not a lot of other stuff going on, but there's a few things. I would start this in a situation that is much more under control. Why am I in the pen with the puppy? I'm still in the pen with the puppy because I can't get her focus outside of it. So I set myself up for success and I eliminate some of the potential distractions. So Jose, it's all about, people want to go outside and work with their dogs on retrieves because they watched our video with Ellie a couple days ago. And they go, I'm going to try that. Well, I didn't start there. I started in this hallway. That's the hallway that this puppy's going to make her first retrieves in. I'm going to show you guys that. That's all in our DVD. In our shed DVD, I use an 8-week-old puppy and I show its very first retrieves. This little puppy, we're going to show it to you live. We're going to have you see it. So it doesn't start in the field. It starts under control, and then you form habits. And once the habits are strong enough to overcome the distractions, then you got something. So that's the biggest thing. It's breaking this thing apart, Jose. You got to... there's a guy, Gary V. I've been using a lot of his lines lately. I don't know if any of you guys listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, but great podcast. Steph turned me onto it, and I've learned a lot from it. There's a lot that I don't necessarily apply, but there's a lot that I do. See that little correction? I don't want that foot going down. So, but reverse engineering. He talks about reverse engineering stuff all the time. I think you have to reverse engineer your issues when it comes to your distractions and the problems with focus. Figure out how to get the focus you need in the situations that are less distracting, and then slowly add layers to it. I'm constantly talking about adding layers, adding elements, creating the next step in all this stuff. It's a constant motion that we're trying to add things. First time to see a live. I've watched all the others at night. Thank you for the training help. Rhett, thank you for tuning in. And so you've been along with us, and I've seen some stuff. I've seen your name and your picture there. So thank you for doing that. That's the other great part about live is, you know what, we don't have to watch it live. I like it live because I think it's more interactive. So that's why I ask people to share it while we're live, so that people can jump on it. I don't mind you guys sharing it after either. Beggars can't be choosers, but got here late, but I'll rewatch it tonight. Also shared it. Love the live stream. Thank you so much, John. Thank you. You've been in on this from the beginning. Place. Who's the first place? Red Hall. Red Hall, message me your address. Your vehicle is going to be sporting a fine DogBone look to it. Christine. Brooke has a question. Brooke sent me a message earlier. She was on her way back, and I told her don't speed. It's not that good. Not worth the ticket. But Brooke had a pup. She's got a pup, I think a little bit older than ours, maybe a week. And she had, what did she have, Brooke? She had crystals in her urine. So she had some type of a urine infection. The urine tract infections. Fee, Spry's twin sister, up in Michigan right now. She had an infection. It's pretty common. I see it with puppies. It makes it very difficult to house break. because it's hard for them to control it. They have to pee a lot. So if you've got something health-wise like that, get them in, because it's real easy to fix. But it makes it next to impossible to do housebreaking if you're having issues from a urine standpoint. Brooke, it's probably going to get a lot easier for you now. Mike Schulte's in. Mike had his dog to the vet. We're hoping that's okay. He sent me a message earlier that he was going to be not able to watch, but he was going to be at the vet. She is very unsettled today on the bed. So guess what? We wait it out. We wait for her to settle. We wait for the changes. We let her know when they're there so she understands. She's struggling in place a bit today. Damn right, Rhett. You read my mind. I didn't read your comment before I said that, but the timing was impeccable. She thinks she needs more food. She probably does. I keep tabs on how much I give her, Emily. Had a question today come from a guy that said, I forget how to word it, but he messaged it to me. Hey mate, what are you soaking the chow for, or something like that. I'm assuming he's not from around Pulaski, but if he's listening right now, the reason I'm soaking it is because I want these pups to eat quickly. I have a hard time with some puppies staying hydrated, so adding water to their food helps with that. But I want to get these dogs to eat quickly and get in a habit of eating quickly, because we travel a lot and I don't have a lot of time to stop on the road and feed them. So I've talked about this in a lot of the videos earlier. That's part of the reason I soak the food. It's just one of the reasons. But does she need more food? I've given her more food. If you watch back probably 2 feedings ago, I fed her 2 or 3 times in a row and she wasn't finishing her food. So we're 2 weeks into feeding her, measured regular amounts, and I'm still fine-tuning just how much she needs. I want to feed her just enough so that she doesn't leave food. I'll sound ridiculous, but I don't like wasting stuff. So I don't like filling a bowl of food and throwing half of it away. So I'm trying to fine-tune. I think this is 2 or 3 times in a row she's cleaned her bowl. I'll probably put about another half a handful in next time. So do you train your shed dog to roam around away from you, I'm assuming that's, or you want to keep them close? How do you go about it? Great question, Colton. I got a text message from someone yesterday that said, and I'm not sure who it was, it's an unknown number, but it's probably someone I've spoken with recently, but they texted me and they said that exact question. Their dog is sticking a little bit tight. What about getting them out? And I said, I'd rather have, I told them, if you're tuning in live, I'm going to answer that. So, Colton, you doubled up on the question. Good work. I don't like dogs that work more than 25 to 30 yards away. And a lot of guys want these dogs with big range, 100 yards, out of sight. Hell no. First off, I'm bird hunting with them. A lot of them I'm bird hunting with. So I do not want dogs to get in a habit of working outside of shotgun range. So 25 yards, 30 yards, it's about max for me. The other thing is 100-yard range, what do you need that for? I think take a real good look at where you find most of your sheds, at least in the Midwest. Maybe it's different in the plain states and that, but in the Midwest, there's very few times that I can see a shed from 100 yards away. When you find sheds in alfalfa fields, that's where a dog would find them with big range. Cut alfalfa, those types of fields, old food plots that are trimmed way down, not a lot of cover. Hell, you don't need a dog in those situations. Stevie Wonder can find those sheds. You need dogs when it's thick cover, when you physically can't see it. So when I'm in thick cover, imagine yourself grid searching without a dog. How much coverage would you need? So walk through the thickest, nastiest spots where you find a lot of your sheds, and off of bedding, where did deer bed? They don't bed in the open. They bed in the thick. Okay, they want security and protection. I find a lot of sheds in there. They don't bed in open fields outside of at nighttime, but they will get just off of the open fields into the thick brush. I'm going to show you my backyard. You want to talk about a good training grounds? Standing corn, thick cover. Open food plot, thick cover. Like nasty, good bedding cover, right? So happens to be where I live, but I also set it up to simulate where I'm really going to hunt and track and find sheds. So if you go out in the field and your dog is beyond 20 to 25 yards in the majority of the areas that I find antlers, I wouldn't see the dog. So the chances of us missing them are much, much greater. I like walking where I'm going to walk and having a dog cover 50 yards to the side of me, which if you take 25 to the left and 25 to the right, you're covering a 50-yard swath. That's what I prefer. So how do you go about it? Work on quartering and casting drills. In our shed DVD, we show you how to do it. I use, again, it goes back to Jose's question earlier about, now, this little pup might have to go to the bathroom. That may be part of it. I'm going to give her a little bit of a chance, and if she doesn't settle down in the next couple minutes, I'm going to take her out. She might have to go. So that's me, just a hunch. But Jose asked earlier about distractions, and I talked about place orientation on where you train and how you set her up for success. Good. Very good. Yeah, you. That wasn't bad. So that's a training thing with quartering and casting is I take strips of cover. If you notice my fields there in the backyard, they're relatively stripped as well. Strips of corn, strips of wood, strips of food plots. I've got strips of stuff all over here. And then I quarter a dog one way and I change them at where the terrain changes. I change direction physically. I give a double peep on the whistle, beep, beep, and I turn, beep, beep, and I turn, beep, beep, and I turn. Get the dog to start getting a natural quarter, bring out their natural quarter and cast and a bend. And with confidence, sometimes it's age, I work the hell out of them on heel. So they're on heel all the time and they have a very strong tendency to stay on heel. I also give them a little confidence, say, okay, okay. And I work on that just on going for walks and let them work out a little bit. So it's building that confidence, and now she's settled in nicely. She must have heard me talking about her. So that's part of how I'm going to go about doing that, Colton. Easier to show with some of the big dogs, and I can do that when we get working with some of the big dogs live. Really helpful and impressive to see how far she's come last week. Thanks, Chris. She has come a long way, and I think that's why we're trying to do them as regular as we are. Because if we did it every 2 or 3 weeks, there'd be so many things that you wouldn't see what actually happened to get there, and I think that's where people can get frustrated. A little not a rich autocorrect. I'm with you, man. Autocorrect gets me all the time. It looks like she grew overnight. She's getting bigger. She is getting bigger. That's the one thing we just can't stop them. She looks jumbo in comparison to the bed. Now, optical illusion, girls. There's the large bed. I put her on a medium today. Every other day I've been putting her on the large bed. So, haha, gotcha. Good morning to you and Spry. Good morning, Cheryl. Carrie, Cheryl. Carrie's grandma, Mason's grandma. So we were talking last night at the basketball game. Last night we missed the live last night. That's because Carrie and I were watching basketball. So, crystals in the urine, not good. UTI. Patience is the key. You'll have her on a pill probably and see difference in 24 hours, I bet. You'll start seeing that she's able to hold it. She knows it's Friday. I suppose. I had a dog with UTIs and crystals meds. Would get rid of it just for a month, then it would come back after several months. I switched to raw. 5 years, no ITIs. There you go. So, now, certain dogs react differently to food. Certain dogs get some reactions from water, all sorts of stuff. So we really gotta fine tune different dogs. Some have allergies, some have different stuff. So that's what we gotta play lots of different scenarios to figure out what fits best. How many acres do I only have 10 acres here. So we get a lot done in 10 acres. We got 10 acres that trains like 100 is what I try to make it, because I can't afford 100, so I got to make do with 10. And before I had this, because I know what a lot of guys are thinking right now is, well, hell, you got 10 acres. I used to train in a duplex in downtown Green Bay on the east side. And you know how I got my training in? Every day I drove to the industrial park, and I found fields that I was able to work with there, and I had a soccer field across the street from our house. That's where I trained some of the better dogs that I've ever had. So you don't have to have special training grounds. You can figure out ways to make it work with what you got. I really believe that. Sometimes you got to get creative. Lyle asked, my transition from working sheds in the backyard to actual field work is where we struggle. No problems in the yard, but when we get out in the woods, they find the sheds in places when they get out the woods, they find the sheds in place, but just sniff them. Keep on running. I can't tell you how often I hear that. So what you need to do is you need to take incremental steps to get closer to the real thing. And so it's a lot like, trying to think of a good analogy. So I use basketball a lot because my kid really likes basketball. So basketball. My son and his team they're playing really, really good ball right now. And they are playing games, and they are winning. They're winning a lot of games in a true game format, right? So how did they get there? They didn't get there by simply doing, like, they do a lot of drills. They do a lot of weird drills. They do 3-man weave. They do this dribble thing where it's like an X, and they all dribble to the center, and they turn at the same time. They pivot in unison and all this stuff. They do all these weird drills. Chairs. Put chairs out in the gym and dribble around them. Ball handling. He goes to a camp, and he shoots 1,000 shots in a row, and it's all muscle memory stuff. All this stuff is parts of the game of basketball. But if all they did was practice those drills, they never would be a very good team. So what do is they practice those drills and get the skills. Then they apply it to, say, 3-on-3, and they work and develop an understanding of how those drills apply to actual basketball. But it's pickup. It's 3-on-3. It's not 5. Big difference between 3-on-3 and 5-on-5. So it's easy for kids to understand 3-on-3. So easier, I think, to understand 3-on-3. So they work on some 3-on-3 stuff. Then they go to some 4-on-4 stuff. Then they go on half courts, and then they go a bunch of different things before they actually scrimmage 5-on-5. And then scrimmaging is much different than a game. So they take all these steps before they ever get good at playing games. Well, if shed hunting is your game, you need to do lots of different drills to form habits, and then you got to apply those habits in similar situations to shed hunting, and then you got to transition those to closer situations to shed hunting, and then you got to get closer and then all of a sudden you're shed hunting. And when you're shed hunting, the training doesn't end. Like, we actually have to transition from training to the field live, okay? So what I think you need to do, Lyle, is simulate and replicate what you're doing in your backyard with success in another place. I don't know where it is. It could be your front yard. It could be your neighbor's yard. It could be a park down the road. It could be, if you go from your yard to the park down the road and it doesn't work, reverse engineer it, pick it apart, figure out where the problems are. So just change little things about it. What I think we get in habits of with trainers, as trainers and handlers, is I think we get in habits of repetitive stuff. We do something over and over, especially if we have some success with it, and then we get damn good at that, and our dog memorizes it. And then what happens is, as soon as the things, the different parts of the equation, the different things that are going to affect the dog from a physical standpoint, where we're doing this, maybe I changed it from 2 bumpers to 3, maybe I made some changes. All of a sudden the dog looks lost because it's not that same routine. They're very habitual creatures, so they get in habits and they follow routines real well. You may have that issue, so you got to mix it up a little bit. And maybe you take steps backwards and simplify it, but simplify it in a different spot. Because if you can't, prior to whatever you're doing in the backyard that is doing really well, you probably didn't do that the very first time. You had parts and pieces that you mastered and then put into place into your routine in the backyard. So maybe you go backwards and figure out what those simple drills were, not hiding sheds, not whatever you're doing. Reverse it and do some trailing memories in a new location. And then from a trailing memory, do a circle loop. And then from a circle loop, do a blind. And then from a blind, all of a sudden you incorporate some quartering and casting. And now we're simulating what a shed hunt looks like. Now find another spot and do the same thing. And then again, and then again. And pretty soon, all of a sudden, it's the habits are what's going to shine, not necessarily location. Hope that helps, Lyle. I think that's it, guys. Not a lot of questions. We were down on our numbers, but I guess some people got to work, right? So that is what I'm going to wrap up with for this morning. I'm going to see how quickly I can get a phone this afternoon, and then I may do some live from our shop with Ellie. I'm probably going to bring her with, and then we'll keep going. And tonight, this weekend, I can't make any promises, guys. I'm taking my son, and we're going to an ice fishery. So we're going to do a little snowmobiling, and we're going to do some ice fishing, and we'll have every dog with us. So if I have reception, you'll probably see some of us this week. You'll see a little bit of us this weekend. If I don't have reception, don't think we're not training. We still are, so you need it too. Continue to please share your pictures and what's going on with you guys. I really want to see that. I think that's what keeps me going. So continue to do that, and if we don't connect much this weekend, we'll definitely be back on Monday morning. So could you do some heel work with Ellie? Lacey, I sure can. I had another gal that asked me about that too. We'll do that. We'll work now. When I do it, and I'll explain it, is she's pretty good at heel. So it's not going to necessarily be what your situation might be or where you're at with yours, but I'll reverse engineer it. I'll back up and I'll explain how we got there too. So we can do that. So thanks guys for tuning in. Steph, good luck. I hope you get to Denver safe. Talk to you guys later, and we will see you soon.